Goomy! This little slime dragon is the cutest Pokemon in existence. And that's a fact. Totally not just my opinion. Totally. So why don't we spread the Goomy love by making a Goomy of every type? Hey everybody, Brandon here. So recently in Pokemon Legends Arceus, we were introduced to Hisuian Sliggoo and Hisuian Goodra. I, along with others, became curious as to what a Hisuian Goomy might look like. Some, like the incredible artist Goompy, imagined a bunch of different typings for Goomy, though I don't know why you would possibly have an inclination to do such a thing. But after seeing those amazing variants, it had me feeling inspired to make this video and make a bunch of Goomies of my own. Unlike previous of every type videos, Goomy doesn't actually have any variants. So there will be a whopping 17 new Goomies, because obviously we already have Dragon. Looking at you, comment section. But before we begin this Goomylicious endeavor, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to keep up to date with future videos. Also, I really don't plug this at all, but make sure to go follow me over on Twitter. I'm trying to hit 1K followers by the end of this year, so let's see if we can make that happen. Also, make sure to check out my other socials using the link tree in the description. So about half of these Goomies were done by Goompy, but the other half I commissioned my good friend Kai_FakemonSR for. So we'll start with the ones I did with Kai. Starting us off is the Steel type. This, of course, is going to be Hisuian Gumi. Like I said before, this is kind of one I wish would be real. I understand why it's not, but it's still fun to imagine. So for this one, Kai and I tried to replicate that feeling from Sliggoo and Goodra, of almost having the shell overwhelm the Pokemon. I mean, the concept behind this line and their Colossian counterpart is that the Hisuian line is more reserved in their shell, and the Colossian line has come out of their shell. You can see this in how it becomes more friendly looking and less depressed. Another little design detail is we made the cheeks of Goomy a little more desaturated, more of a greenish gray to match the eyes and dots of Sliggoo, which are also more of a desaturated green. This little detail also matches how the color and vibrancy of the Colossian Goomy line has become more subdued with the Hisuian line. This is another Hisuian variant that's an example of, what did you do to my boy? Next up, here is a rock type Goomy. This Goomy is based on the Dorona albilinita sea slug. Probably butchered that Latin, but get used to it. We're going to talk about a lot of snails and slugs in this video that don't have common names. The Dorona is a particularly impressive looking sea slug, and definitely caught my eye when researching slugs for these variants. Its serrata, these little spiky parts on its back, reminded me heavily of crystalline structures found in caves, specifically that of quartz and amethyst. So this Goomy is modeled after quartz and amethyst geodes. The combination of Goomy plus Dorona plus Geodes just fits the rock type perfectly. This Goomy is more stern and stubborn. They won't be bothered to move unless they're in danger. This is to reflect the hardened and immovable nature of crystals. These Goomy are often mistaken for actual crystals because they sit so still, which leads to them becoming even more stern and stubborn. Speaking of Angie boys, here is a fighting type Goomy. This Goomy is partially based on the fighting conch snail, which has the incredible binomial name of Strombus pugilis. Yes, I know. It's based on a snail, but it doesn't have a shell? Well, the overall design just didn't lend itself to a shell, and slugs are basically just snails without shells anyway. The purple aspects of this design are meant to reference the black eyes and bruises that fighters receive. You know, when they're fighting. It also has a little anger mark that it shares with Primeape. This Goomy uses its antenna? Eyes? What are those things? Anyway, it uses these things to punch. So, yes, all punch moves are available to learn, and it actually makes sense, unlike freaking Wooper. While we're on the topic of ground types, here's this ground type Goomy. Unlike the past few Goomies, which were based on snails or slugs, this Goomy is actually based on a flatworm, specifically the Eurylepta leparda, or the leopard flatworm. The pattern on its back reminded me of sand. So it gave me the idea of a Goomy who could flatten itself out and almost merge with the sand to camouflage itself. Kind of like Sandygast in Palisand. Also, its coloration reminds me of pancakes and syrup, which is just another reason to love this cutie. For another Goomy based on a flatworm, here is a flying type Goomy. This Goomy isn't based on any specific flatworm, but more so the way flatworms look when they swim. I mean, look at this. It's so beautiful and trippy, like a Beatles music video. To me, it almost looks like a magic carpet flying through the air. So that's what inspired this Goomy. Its coloration is meant to look like the sky and clouds. The patterns on its sides are air current, and its antennae... Okay, you know what? I'm gonna look this up. Wait, they're horns? Okay, the horns are meant to look like fluffy clouds. Also, it has a kind of a little air current mustache going on, and you know how I love facial hair. This Goomy likes to zoom through the air without a care in the world. You could say they're living on cloud 9.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Want to see something else that's trippy and beautiful? How about this psychic type Goomy? This Goomy is based on, and I'm gonna try my best here, the Phylodesmium poendimiae slug, which means spun of light. Did I do good? Okay, cool. This psychedelic looking Goomy's horns and coloration are both inspired by the serrata of the spun of light slug. But like I said, it's meant to look psychedelic, because this Goomy is definitely tripping. This is a reference to the supposed link between psychedelics and extrasensory perception, aka ESP. This Goomy may seem confused, but its horns are actually highly sensitive receivers of psychic energy that it uses to find its way around and defend itself if necessary. Speaking of horns, here is this normal type Goomy. This Goomy is partially inspired by the Triton's trumpet snail, except for its shell is literally a trumpet. Well, not quite a trumpet, but it's kind of a mix of a bunch of different brass instruments. But now its horns are horns. Should be easy to remember that now. This Goomy uses its shell to make incredibly loud noises, rivaling that of a loudred. The louder the Goomy, the stronger it is. For the dark type, here is this Goomy. It is based on assassin snails and actual assassins. Its horns are of course supposed to look like demonic horns to give off that evil vibe. Pokemon breeders and farmers will use this form of Goomy if they have unwanted pests sneaking into their farm. Let's just say they get the job done. Lastly, from Kai and I, is this electric type Goomy. It is based on this Super Saiyan looking dude, the Genolus fuscus. Also, as I'm sure you've noticed, its cheeks and brow line are a reference to Frankenstein's monster, who in and of itself was brought to life using lightning. And for a third reference, back in 2012, scientists from Clarkson University and Ben Gurion University of Negev managed to create a snail-powered battery by collecting small amounts of power over several months by processing the glucose in the snail's blood. We live in a crazy world, man. Jeez. The rest of these Goomies are made by Goompy. To start us off is this incredible water-type Goomy based on the Glaucus atlanticus, or the blue sea dragon. Blue sea dragons are the coolest creatures in nature, and making a Goomy variant based on them works so well. I love the way Goompy incorporated the sea dragon's serrata into a mustache and eyebrows. It reminds me of the wise dragons of Chinese folklore. Next, here is the fire-type Goomy. This one is based on the scaly foot snail, whose natural habitat is hanging around hydrothermal vents, heated by underlying magma, which can reach up to 750 degrees Fahrenheit. That is one hot snail. Don't take that out of context. To complete the starter type trio, here is this grass type Goomy. It is of course based on banana slugs and actual bananas. The banana slug combo is definitely a concept I've wanted to see Game Freak explore. And this is a great example as to why. This concept fits so well onto Goomy. Next up is this bug type Goomy. And its inspiration is a little gross, so consider this your warning. Okay, good? Alright, this Goomy is inspired by the green-banded broadsack, a parasite that hangs out in the snail's eye stalks. Yes, now my eyes hurt too. Speaking of creepy things, how about a ghost type Goomy? While being a ghost, its inspiration is actually not creepy like the last one. This Goomy is inspired by sea angels. Isn't that nice? Aren't they just so beautiful? These last few aren't actually based on snails, slugs, or even flatworms. For the poison type, we have this Goomy. It is based on tar pits and the fossils found within them. I love how Goompy made it look like a caveman with that heavy brow line. Maybe we could see this in a prehistoric Pokemon region. Next, here is the fairy type Goomy. This one's based on bubblegum. I love the little personality it has, trying to pull itself off the ground. I imagine this is a frequent occurrence for this poor Goomy. Its horns being bubbles is so cute and reminds me of space buns, which just makes me love this design more. Last but not least is this ice type Goomy. It is based on a dropped ice cream cone, which is adorable and hilarious. The shell being the cone is ingenious. I also love the personality shift on this one. It being more sleepy looking is clearly a reference to how when your body temperature drops, you become drowsy, like in cases of hypothermia. But that's a Goomy of every type. Let me know which one was your favorite. Also, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Also, go follow me on all my socials. Follow the link tree in the description. With that, I will see you guys next time.